Discover how a new cleaning lady unlocked the hidden voices of millionaire twins in just 30 days. Rosa busied her hands across the gleaming marble countertops, wiping away remnants of a lavish breakfast left behind by millionaire twins, Jake and Ethan. Each stroke of her cloth resonated with a quiet determination, the kind that had seen her through sleepless nights and endless worries for her young daughter, Mia. A chill ran down her spine, not from the polished chill of the home, but from the pressing silence wrapped around those twin boys. They lived in a grand mansion, and yet, as her heart raced, it became clear, inside these walls of luxury, they were suffocating. Why do they look so unhappy, she thought, glancing at the way their shoulders slumped beneath crisp designer clothes, as if even their fabric couldn't lift the weight they carried. As she polished the silverware shining like diamonds, a wave of sadness washed over her. It wasn't just the twins who needed saving, it felt like an entire world filled with broken dreams. "Hey, Jake, what are you working on today?" she ventured, wiping away a stubborn smudge. Their eyes flickered, revealing a tiny spark of surprise. For a moment, there was a pause, a cradle of vulnerability. "I've been trying to write some music," Jake murmured, barely above a whisper, his gaze fixed on the floor. The words hung above the space like a haunting melody he couldn't play. "Music?" Rosa echoed, tilting her head in curiosity. Her heart fluttered with compassion, recognizing the yearning behind those two syllables. That must be a beautiful escape. In that vast home draped in excess, Rosa could see the twins' hearts collide with fear of judgment, of expectations. As days turned into weeks, she began to peel back their protective layers. In unguarded moments, Ethan shared snippets of his dreams to invent something that could change lives. Both boys carried invisible burdens, longing for their parents' approval while drowning in their own desires. One sultry afternoon, as the sun cast a muted glow through the chandeliers, she witnessed a rare moment. An argument erupted like a storm, their voices raised. "I'm sick of living up to their legacy," Ethan shouted, his fists clenched. "It's like we're shadows, chasing our parents' dreams." The tension hung thick, almost tangible. Feeling the electricity of the moment, Rosa's heart raced. "Boys," she interjected gently, "just because you have privilege doesn't mean you have to be unhappy. Your paths are yours to define." Before she could collect her thoughts, their vulnerability broke down the last barriers. "But what if it's all for nothing?" Jake said, eyes glimmering with unshed tears. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. Rosa could see the flicker of a flame, the possibility of hope. What if you both explored what brings you joy? It's never too late to discover who you really are. Their expressions turned from anger to introspection, yet an unspoken question lingered. Could they break free from their gilded cages? And, in the echoes of their shared struggles, as they contemplated starting initiatives for her community, a new chapter seemed to dawn. Little did they know, a revelation was coming that would test their bond, challenging the very foundation on which their lives were built. Would they find the strength to embrace truth and redefine themselves? As Rosa finished wiping away the last glimmers of sheen from the kitchen, shadows loomed larger than life around them, and the stage was set for a confrontation they never expected. Secrets would unravel, unveiling not just ambitions, but the power to change. The days slipped by, each one weaving the twins deeper into Rosa's world. The mansion, once a palace of silence, buzzed with tentative conversations and the stirrings of dreams. She felt a glimmer of pride as she witnessed these moments, almost as if she were their secret ally. They shared laughs, exchanged shy glances, and, for the first time since she arrived, Rosa sensed a hint of joy ripple through the air. One evening, as Rosa finished cleaning, she found Jake hunched over a keyboard, fingers dancing hesitantly above the keys. The faint music hung in the air, a soulful melody that echoed the turmoil she saw in his heart. It was raw and unpolished, almost like a plea for freedom. That sounds beautiful. Rosa stepped closer, her own heart echoing his passion. Jake paused, embarrassed. It's not finished. I don't think anyone would want to hear it. Maybe not yet, she encouraged, kneeling beside him to better catch his gaze. But you're creating, Jake. That's what matters. Ethan leaned against the doorway, arms crossed, face cast in shadows. You shouldn't waste time on stupid music, he interjected, his tone heavy with an older brother's often misguided protection. We have legacies to uphold, remember? Rosa turned to Ethan, her heart aching for him. But what if their legacy isn't the only story worth telling? His brow furrowed, a war raging inside him. The tension swelled like the music swelling around them, each note a reminder of unfulfilled potential and closed doors. Do you even hear yourself? Ethan's voice quaked with frustration. We can't just drop everything for a dream that might go nowhere. Maybe we can, Jake interjected, his eyes suddenly fierce. Maybe I can make the music I want. Maybe you can create your inventions that help people. Rosa felt a rush, a surge of daring hope wash over the room, but Ethan's expression remained stormy. It's not that simple. You think Dad would approve? What if we don't need their approval? Jake challenged, his voice a mixture of fear and liberation. What if it's okay to find our own way? The air thickened, charged with emotion and unsaid words. For a brief moment, Rosa felt as though she were standing on the edge of an important revelation. You don't have to carry that weight alone, she murmured, her own heart racing. We're here to figure it out together. A silence enveloped them, thick with uncertainty yet brimming with possibility. Rosa could see the unease etched into Ethan's features, while a spark of defiance flickered in Jake's gaze. As they stood there, hands tense and minds racing, Rosa felt an overwhelming urge to help them strip away the layers of expectation that bound them. What if you both could host a workshop for kids in the community, sharing your passions? You could discover the freedom of inspiring others. They exchanged glances, uncertainty wavering between them. Jake's face lit with a flicker of excitement, while Ethan's features remained stubbornly conflicted. Could we? Jake whispered, perhaps more to himself than anyone else. As darkness settled outside, Rosa's words hung in the air, a tapestry of dreams ready to be woven, intricate yet fragile. But before they could take the leap, a sudden crash echoed through the house, slicing through the fragile tension. What was that? Jake's voice trembled slightly, pulling them back to reality. Rosa's heart raced, a jolt of fear igniting within her. There were secrets deeper than they knew, buried within these walls. As shadows danced ominously across the room, she realized their journey was just beginning, a path littered with obstacles and revelations beyond their wildest imaginations. What awaited them next would change everything they thought they knew, forcing them to face not only external challenges but the truths hidden within their own hearts. Rosa's heart pounded in her chest as the echoes of the crash reverberated through the dimly lit room. She exchanged a quick glance with Jake and Ethan, their earlier discussion forgotten in the wake of a new and formidable uncertainty. We should check it out, she whispered, her voice barely a breath. Ethan's protective instincts kicked in. We don't know what it could be. Maybe we should wait, he said, but something in his voice betrayed his own curiosity. Or it could be a sign that we need to be brave, Jake replied, voice rising with determination. We can't hide from whatever is going on in this house. Choosing courage over fear, they moved towards the source of the noise, a narrow corridor at the end of the mansion that led to the basement. The air thickened with tension, and as Rosa stepped forward, it felt like the weight of the world was pressing upon her. She could almost sense the stories hidden within these walls, each one layered under time, silence, and unfulfilled dreams. They reached the basement door, which creaked ominously when pushed open. A musty smell drifted up to them, and before she stepped through, Rosa took a deep breath, grounding herself. The room before them was almost as if it had been frozen in time. Old furniture piled in disarray, dust motes floated in the stream of light filtering through a small window in the far corner. Near a stack of boxes, lay a broken lampshade. That must be fallen, Rosa said, her voice returning to steady ground. But why was it suddenly? She caught sight of an old, worn journal peeking out from beneath the boxes. Gently, she brushed away layers of dust, revealing its tattered cover. Curiosity flickered within her, igniting her spirit as she opened it, revealing a series of heartfelt entries. Each page overflowed with thoughts, dreams, and struggles, words that felt almost alive. Is that? Ethan leaned in closer, peering over her shoulder. That looks like Dad's handwriting. Rosa gasped, her pulse quickening. What if these are his thoughts about the legacy you both talked about? What if he laid out his feelings about music, inventions, or even his struggle? Jake finished for her, his voice laced with a mix of intrigue and fear. What if he wasn't the person we thought he was? The pages opened doors to a world they never knew, a world where their father battled doubt and the weight of responsibility. As they flipped through the entries, whispers of vulnerability filled the haunting silence. Each story sang a different tune, a message of yearning for freedom amidst the chains of expectation. I can relate to this, Jake murmured, his eyes wide with discovery. He was so frustrated but still cared deeply about us. Ethan's expression softened, glimmering with something he hadn't allowed himself to feel in a long time, understanding. Maybe we've been carrying his burdens instead of finding our own paths. Rosa watched as the brothers came together, the journal becoming a bridge between them. This moment held the promise of change, a chance for healing and hope, but just then, the air shifted, a heavy presence enveloping them as if the house itself shared in their revelation. A noise echoed from deeper within the basement, something alive and breathing, and Rosa felt the chill creep up her spine. What was that? She whispered, grasping the journal tighter, as shadows drew closer around them. Whatever it is, we need to face it, Ethan said, his voice steady yet urgent. With hearts racing, they exchanged determined looks, each silently acknowledging the fragile space they now occupied between the known and the unknown. As they ventured deeper into the darkness, unwritten dreams flickered on the edge of their minds. What if confronting this presence not only unveiled more family secrets, but also released the fears that had held them captive for far too long? Rosa felt a shiver skitter down her spine as they advanced into the dark, deciding to follow the sound that had pulled them deeper into the basement as secrets. The air grew colder, and she could hear the faint rustling, a sound almost like whispering. It was unnerving, mixing confusion with curiosity. Ethan took the lead, leading the way with a shaky flashlight. The beam flickered against the damp walls, revealing peeling paint and cobwebs. Rosa felt a strange mix of dread and exhilaration. They had always shied away from this part of the house, the basement, like a forgotten memory. What do you think it is? Jake whispered, his eyes darting nervously around. I don't know, but we can't turn back now, Rosa replied, her heart thumping. The journal pressed against her chest, a weight of their father's words tangling with her own fear. What if there was something buried down here, something about their father, or worse, about them? They moved cautiously, inching closer to the sound, which seemed to pulse in the dark. A stack of dusty boxes loomed ominously, and Rosa noticed the tension in Ethan's shoulders. Just be careful, he said, taking a breath to steady himself. Whatever we find, we face it together. Jake nodded, though doubt flickered in his eyes. Together, he echoed but quieted his voice as the whispers grew louder, taking on an almost recognizable form. The sensation sent a ripple of fear through Rosa. Was it just her imagination, or did the house feel alive with stories and sighs? As they turned a corner, the sound led them to an old wooden chest, partially opened. The whispering fell silent, replaced by a thick, pulsating silence. Rosa stepped closer, her insides churning. What's inside? She asked, barely able to keep her voice steady. Ethan knelt before the chest, brushing dirt and dust away with trembling fingers. I think we should open it, he said, uncertainty mixed with excitement. Together, they lifted the lid. The chest creaked, releasing a cloud of dust that danced in the shaft of light. Inside lay old photos, yellowing papers, and mementos of a past that felt like a lifetime ago. Rosa's breath caught as she reached into the chest, pulling out a faded picture of their family. What is this? Jake whispered, leaning in beside her. The photo showed them all laughing at the beach, their father's genuine smile captured in a moment that felt distant yet comforting. But what drew her most was an envelope tucked beneath the pile. It was addressed to them, written in their father's neat handwriting. Rosa, do you think? Ethan's voice trailed off, a mixture of hope and anxiety shadowing his expression. With shaking hands, Rosa opened the envelope. The parchment inside felt fragile, and as she unfolded it, words flooded her mind, haunted and beautiful. Each line spoke of love, mistakes, regrets, and dreams for his children she had never known. Tears pricked her eyes as she read silently, her heart aching with every word. "This is everything we were missing," Jake said. "He wanted us to know." The atmosphere shifted, and suddenly the shadows didn't seem as threatening as before. Instead, they felt like whispers of the past urging them forward, a reminder that they were not alone in this journey. But just as the revelation carved a path of connection among them, the whispers returned. This time, louder, insistent, pressing upon them. "What are you hiding?" They seemed to beckon. "What do you think they want us to find?" Ethan asked, looking deep into Rosa's eyes, their shared understanding igniting something that had been lost for so long. As the shadows thickened, Rosa knew they were on the edge of a deeper truth, one that could either unite or unravel them. The air buzzed with anticipation. "What if the voices want to tell us something crucial?" Rosa breathed, a mix of terror and excitement coursing through her. The chest might have opened a door, but what lay beyond it was only the beginning. Rosa quickly glanced at Ethan and Jake, her heart racing. The shadows seemed to stretching to encompass their curiosity and fear. The whispers, becoming an almost tangible presence, were demanding something of them, and the air crackled with urgency. Just then, they heard a loud bang echo in the distance, a thudding sound that reverberated through the walls. Rosa jumped, instinctively clutching the letter tighter. The flashlight quivered, flickering before stabilizing again, revealing the wooden chest's contents more vividly, the old photographs, brittle paper, and forgotten trinkets glinting with hidden purpose. "What was that?" Jake exclaimed, eyes wide. "It sounded like it came from over there," Ethan said, pointing toward a darkened corner of the basement that they hadn't investigated yet. "Are you sure we should?" Jake began, but Rosa interrupted. "We need to see. It could be connected to all of this." With each step they took toward the corner, Rosa felt the weight of their father's words guide her, like a compass pointing true north through the emotional fog. "We're together, right?" she said, hoping the reassurance would keep their apprehensions at bay. "Right," Ethan echoed. They navigated past the old boxes that lined the walls, a sense of resolve settling over them. As they neared the corner, the whispers sharpened again, pulling at Rosa, urging her forward. What did they want to reveal? Suddenly, the beam of the flashlight landed on an old door, half hidden behind an ancient tapestry that hung crookedly on the wall. Its wood was dark and weathered, the doorknob tarnished and cold to touch. It looked like it had not been opened in decades. "Maybe this is it," Rosa breathed, stepping forward, excitement mixing with trepidation. "Are you sure we shouldn't just leave things be?" Jake asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "Do you really want to live with more questions?" Rosa replied, her voice firm. "We're already here." Ethan moved beside her, and with a deep breath, they grasped the doorknob together. It resisted momentarily, but with a push, it gave way with a creak that echoed around them, opening into a room cloaked in darkness. Moldy shelves crowded the walls, strained under the weight of dusty books and nondescript objects, each one potentially a fragment of a story they had been denied for so long. As they stepped inside, a faint light flickered to life from the far end of the room, illuminating what seemed to be a small table piled with more letters and old journals. "What is all of this?" Ethan murmured, taking a step closer. As they approached, the air stirred, and the whispers transformed, becoming clearer than before. "You've come to learn to discover the truth." They seemed to blend together, promising revelations. Rosa reached for a journal, its leather cover cracked, yet intriguing. This might tell us everything." Suddenly, a gust of wind roared through the open door, slamming it shut with a resounding thud that rattled the shelves. The room plunged back into a heavy silence, punctuated only by their breaths. The weight of the moment crashed down around them, a mix of fear and anticipation thickening the air. "Okay, maybe this was a bad idea," Jake stammered, taking a step back toward the door. "No. Rosa insisted, unwavering. If we don't face it now, we may never know. As she opened the journal to the first page, the whispers swelled, enveloping them like a warm embrace. They felt the energy shift, a collective inhale of all the lost time and secrets just waiting to be revealed. But as Rosa began to read, a strange chill crept through the room, and she realized, not all secrets wanted to be uncovered. Just then, in the dim light, an unfamiliar figure appeared in the shadows, watching them. "Who are you?" Rosa gasped, the journal slipping from her fingers. The figure stepped into the light, and the moment felt impossibly stretched as the air crackled with a charged tension. What other truths lay before them, waiting to unfold? The whispers intensified, now urging them to uncover the truth, no matter the cost. Rosa's breath caught in her throat. The figure illuminated by the flickering light was a woman, her features indistinct but her presence undeniable. She wore a long, faded dress that seemed to merge with the shadows, and her eyes, dark and piercing, held a depth of sorrow that made Rosa's heart ache. "Who are you?" Ethan echoed, clutching Rosa's arm tightly, his voice wavering between anger and fear. The woman didn't reply at once. Instead, she stepped forward, flooding the space with traces of warmth. "I am a keeper of stories," she finally said, her voice a soft whisper like a breeze ruffling pages long neglected. "And you are on the brink of unfolding a tale long forgotten." Rosa's instinct screamed to run, yet she found herself drawn in by the woman's ethereal calm. "What story?" she asked, swallowing the lump in her throat. "Is it about our family?" "Yes," the woman confirmed, her gaze unwavering. "But it's not just your family. It's about choices, regrets, and the echoes that linger long after they have ceased." Jake shifted from foot to foot, anxiety radiating off him. "What does that even mean? Are you here to hurt us?" "I am here to guide you, to help you understand," the figure replied, her voice a soothing melody that seemed to quiet the whispers momentarily. "But you must be ready, for some truths might be harder to bear than others." Rosa's mind raced. The journals piled on the table were full of words begging to be spoken, secrets hidden in ink and paper. Did they know about their mother? The woman waiting, gazing at them as if assuring them this was the right path, felt like a delicate thread woven into their past, fragile and ancient. "Why are you here now?" Rosa demanded, her desire for answers surging within her. "Why reveal all of this?" "Because the time is ripe," the woman said, her lips curving slightly. "The past cannot remain a ghost. It must be illuminated, set free." The whispers swelled again, louder this time, as if they were echoing her thoughts, begging for release. Rosa sensed urgency in the air, a moment of reckoning teetering on the edge of revelation. "What if we aren't ready?" Jake questioned, his tone wavering. "What if we can't take it?" "You already carry it," the woman said gently, her gaze piercing through them. "It is not a matter of being ready, it is a matter of belonging. Every family is built on both light and shadow. Discovering your truth will bring clarity." Rosa's heart pounded. She glanced at Ethan, and in that fleeting moment, she could see their shared resolve. "Let us do it," she said definitively. "We need to know." The woman nodded, and a flicker of pride shone in her eyes. Rosa felt the atmosphere shift, laden with anticipation. She reached for one of the journals, her fingers trembling on the worn leather cover. As she opened it, the room dimmed slightly, almost as if taking a breath in unison with her. The first page was lined with neat handwriting, telling a story that felt familiar yet otherworldly, but before she could focus, an unmistakable sound filled the air, a voice, faint yet clear, calling out from the shadows, as if it had been waiting for just this moment. Rosa's shiver raced down her spine, and she met Jake's wide-eyed gaze. "Did you hear that?" he whispered, his pulse racing. "Yes, but how?" The woman smiled mysteriously, stepping back into the dimness, encouraging them to listen. Rosa dropped the journal, her heart thundering in her ears. Real voices. Real connections. Their family's past was clawing its way back to life, and they were at the heart of it. With breathless anticipation, they leaned in closer, ready for the revelations that would lift the veil between the past and their present longing. What would the voices say? What truths had been buried, and would they want to be found? The air thickened, and the whispers seemed to promise them everything, binding their fates tighter with each word. Would they have the strength to follow where it led? Rosa's hands shook as the name reverberated in her mind like a drumbeat. Her own name echoed from the shadows, a siren call that pulled her deeper into an unknown. She felt Ethan's grip tighten around her arm, a reminder that she wasn't alone in this rush of adrenaline and fear. Who is it? Jake stammered, breaking the spell of the moment. 1,000 questions darted through the air like fireflies, each one sparkling but intangible. Listen closely, the woman said, her voice like the softest silk, but edged with a sharp urgency. The voice belongs to someone you knew. Someone whose story was meant to remain quiet until now. Rosa's breath caught again, a rush of memories flooding back. And then she heard it, a soft, melancholy tone cutting through the whispers. Rosa, I wish you could see I've missed you, Mom. Rosa whispered, her heart racing, a mix of longing and disbelief zipping through her veins. Is it really you? The dark figure in the corner nodded slowly, a sadness flickering in her eyes. What remains unsaid ties you to her still. The journal you opened holds the key. Rosa didn't need to be told twice. She turned back to the leather-bound book, her fingers finding the page that opened like a portal to the past. More words awaited, and they felt like ghosts hovering at the edges of the reality she had lived in for so long. Read it, the woman urged, as if sensing Rosa's hesitation. Let her voice speak. You will find her, but you must have courage. With a deep breath, she began to read the neat cursive. I love you both more than I can express, but I am afraid of what this world has become for us. The room seemed to tilt, each word lifting her spirit while straining her heart. Every choice I've made has brought us to this moment, each one heavier than the last. What does it mean? Jake's voice trembled. He looked to the ethereal woman, searching for clarity. It means she is reaching out through time, the woman replied gently. Every shadow in your family is woven from love and fear. Understanding this will allow you to forgive, and ultimately set you free. Rosa's chest filled with emotion. With each line, it was as if she could feel her mother's presence inching nearer. I'm here, Mom. We're listening, she whispered, wishing the words could stretch out over the years. And then another voice joined in, a whisper deeper than sorrow. Don't let the past chain you down. I wanted you to find joy. Please, don't be afraid. Ethan's hand slipped from Rosa's arm, and he took a step closer. Can you hear it too? His voice was stronger now, the fear falling away to reveal light. Are we ready for this? Rosa asked, her heart drumming a frantic tempo. What if it changes everything? Then it changes everything, the woman said with resolve. But growth is born through understanding, not denial. The weight of the moment hung between them. She could feel the closeness of family and pain, a tightrope stretched between love and loss. Would they step forward together? Let us summon more voices, Jake suggested, rounding his shoulders with a fresh determination. Let us hear it all. No more secrets. Rosa nodded, the thrill of stepping into the unknown sparking courage within her. They were ready to uncover the truth, whatever it might reveal. Her fingers flew across the pages, searching, urging them onward. Then the voice cut through once more, stronger now. Rosa, Ethan, this is only the beginning. Her heart raced, the prospect of the past and its hidden truths igniting her spirit. What more would they uncover? What else lay waiting in the shadows? They stood on the edge of discovery, and for the first time, fear began to blend with hope. What if the answers they sought could reshape their destinies forever? Rosa felt a surge of determination coursing through her veins as she stared at the journal. The woman's words echoed in her mind like a mantra, you must have courage. What lay ahead was uncharted territory, and the shadows of the past loomed large. She glanced at Ethan and Jake, both waiting with bated breath. The fear that had tangled in her chest was slowly unraveling, thread by thread. Okay, let us do this, she said, her voice steady now, almost calm. The words began to flow from the page, a blend of nostalgia and pain. I never wanted to leave you. The choices I made felt like chains. Each line unfolded like a flower revealing its petals, exposing all the hurt and hope that had once been buried. What if this changes everything? Jake whispered, a flicker of anxiety dancing across his face. Rosa turned to him. What if it does? Maybe that's what we need. The woman stepped forward, her presence wrapping around them like a protective cloak. Change can be frightening, but what's hidden behind those fears often holds the greatest gifts. Drawing a deep breath, Rosa continued to read, her voice growing bolder. My dear Rosa, my sunshine, I wish I could guide you through this darkness. Trust, my love, is vital. It's what keeps our spirits alive. The last word hung in the air, heavy with emotion. Rosa's throat tightened as she felt her mother's essence spill into the room, like a warm embrace from a long-lost friend. I trust you, she called out softly, wishing her voice could reach across time. Ethan stepped even closer, drawn by the weight of her emotions. What else does she have to say? He asked, his curiosity piquing as he leaned over to catch a glimpse of the pages. Without replying, Rosa flipped through to the next entry, her fingers trembling with anticipation. The family we form is woven from threads of love, fear, and joy. Remember to embrace the light, even when shadows try to pull you away. Wow, Jake breathed, absorbing the richness of every word. It's like she knew we would be here, like she was speaking directly to us. The woman nodded, a knowing smile lighting her face. She is. This isn't just a message, it's a bridge. Every revelation you uncover here will lead you one step closer to true freedom. Taking another breath, Rosa turned back to the journal, her heart pounding with hope. I want more. I want everything. As if fueled by her desire, the voice sharpened, echoing with urgency. Facing the truth requires bravery, my loves. In the end, it's not the secrets that bind you, but the love that remains. Don't run from it, embrace it. The words sent a shiver down her spine, urging her forward. What if we find something we didn't expect? She said, glancing nervously at Jake and Ethan. Then we face it together, Ethan replied, his eyes glistening with determination. No secrets, no barriers. Rosa nodded, her resolve shining through. All right, let us keep going. We owe it to her and to ourselves. As they dived back into the journal, a sudden thought struck Rosa. What if uncovering these truths not only shifted her understanding of the past but reshaped who they were as a family? The weight of the unknown danced tantalizingly close, filled with possibility. Before she could lose her nerve, she read on, but as the next entry began to unravel, a crackling energy surged through the air. Was it the room growing dim, or was the pulse of her mother's presence growing stronger? Then the voice broke through again, this time with a sense of urgency that made the hairs on Rosa's neck stand on end. Rosa, the truth is closer than you think, but beware of what lies ahead. The words filled her with both exhilaration and dread. What truth awaited them? Would it reveal a connection that would bind them in unforeseen ways, or would it pull them apart? One thing was clear: the journey they were on was just beginning, stirring emotions neither of them could have anticipated. With her heart racing, she plunged deeper into the words on the page, eager yet trembling with the weight of what was to come. Rosa's fingers danced over the delicate pages, her heart thrumming like a drum. Each line felt like a lifeline, pulling her deeper into the heart of her mother's memories. The air crackled with anticipation, heavy with a mixture of fear and hope, and she could feel Ethan and Jake leaning in, breaths held tight in their chests. Okay, here goes. She steadied herself and continued to read. I remember when we were alive with dreams, dancing in the light of possibility. But darkness crept in, chains that felt impossible to shed. The words swirled around them, each syllable a bittersweet reminder of the love that had been there and the pain that followed. What chains? Jake murmured, his brow furrowed. What is she talking about? I don't know, let us find out, Rosa replied, fueled by a growing curiosity. She flipped to the next entry, the anticipation making her heart sprint. Life will throw storms at you. Don't let them define you. Storms pass, but what remains is transformed. The woman, still present and watchful, nodded, almost as if she was encouraging Rosa to dig deeper. Those storms, they often hold the answers we're seeking. What answers? Rosa felt the shimmer of desperation color her words. She needed clarity. Why did her mother use such vivid imagery? The journal crackled in response, and Rosa felt an electric charge run through her, urging her forward. My journey may be unclear, but love will guide you. Trust the path, even when the shadows whisper otherwise. I just feel like we're on the edge of something huge, Ethan interjected, his voice low but steady. If this is about your mom, isn't there a chance it touches all of us? Rosa looked at him, feeling the weight of those words sink in. Maybe it's not just about her. Maybe it's about all of us and what we're meant to uncover together. With each new page she turned, unfamiliar feelings jostled within her, feelings that had been silenced for far too long. Vulnerability tested her resolve as she read on, revealing snippets that seemed to resonate with recent struggles in her own life. Remember, every secret buried deep breeds shadows. Only in sharing can we find the light. What does that mean? Jake whispered, tilting his head in concentration. I think it means we need to be honest with each other, Rosa replied, the clarity washing over her. We have to unlock the chains that bind us, not just from the past but from ourselves. The weight of shared fears and unspoken truths suddenly felt lighter. They weren't just reading a journal, they were peeling back layers of their existence. A sense of unity began to blossom, a tiny flame in the heart of their shared history. As they journeyed further into the fragile fabric of her mother's writings, Rosa felt as if they were no longer battling the shadows but embracing them. Each revelation intertwined their lives more closely, threading their individual stories into one larger narrative. Deep in her gut, however, a lingering doubt clawed at her. What if these secrets were darker than they anticipated? And then, a passage leaped from the page. At times, love challenges us to face what frightens us most. Face them, and your world will never be the same. The challenge hung in the air between them like a dare, an urgent question lingering. Would they rise to meet that challenge, or would fear anchor them? Rosa glanced at Ethan and Jake, their faces a mix of anticipation and uncertainty. Are we willing to face whatever comes next? She asked, her voice steady, the bravado evident. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from the other room, shattering the heavy atmosphere. They jumped, eyes wide, hearts racing. What had they stirred? In that moment, it was clear, their journey was only just beginning. Tension buzzed in the air, hinting at both danger and discovery that lay ahead. Before Rosa could process the sound, the descent into the darkness promised by the journal awaited them. Would they find the answers, or was the truth already too powerful to control? Rosa's heart hammered against her chest as they stood in the basement, the air thick with anticipation and the remnants of the whispers echoing around them. The crash had jolted them back to reality, and the gravity of the situation weighed heavily in the dark. She glanced at Ethan and Jake, their faces illuminated by the flickering flashlight. They needed to decide quickly. Adventure beckoned, but so did the shadows. Should we go see what that was? Jake asked, his voice laced with both fear and excitement. Yes, Rosa urged, her resolve igniting. It could be another piece of the puzzle. Let us be brave together. They exchanged determined glances, a silent agreement swirling in the charged air. With hesitant steps, they moved toward the source of the disturbance, hearts pounding in unison as they approached the door leading back to the main area of the basement. The old frames creaked like the mansion itself was alive, eager to reveal its secrets. As they stepped into the dimly lit room, the chaos from before met them. A fallen statue lay shattered on the floor, pieces scattered like fractured dreams. The cold light seemed to glint off the fragments, reminding them all too vividly of the past they sought to uncover. What does this mean? Ethan murmured, pushing the fallen pieces aside with trembling hands. Is this a warning? No. Rosa shook her head, her voice firm. It's a sign that things are shifting. We're on the brink of something big. With newfound determination, they gathered around the remnants. Each piece seemed to whisper history, begging for acknowledgement. Maybe this is our chance, she continued, her eyes bright with purpose. Maybe we're meant to piece everything back together, just like this statue. The words hushed the room, and the shadows seemed to draw closer, as if they were listening. Rosa recalled a truth passed down through generations. Only in understanding can we truly heal. Taking a deep breath, she turned back to the journal in her hands. Let us keep reading, she urged, needing the words that could guide them through the noise of their family history. She opened it to a new page, her heart quickening with each unfamiliar curve of her mother's handwriting. Life demands we face our truths, the words poured forth, each one like a compass pointing to freedom. Remember, you are not alone in this journey. Jake and Ethan leaned in closer, their shoulders brushing against hers as they caught the weight of the words. It felt like a warm embrace, the connection threading through the remnants of their fears. This is about us, Ethan said, glancing up. It's ours to share. But what if it changes everything? Jake added cautiously, a flicker of doubt still lingering in his eyes. Then we welcome it, Rosa replied, her voice filled with a soothing calm. If we harness fear, we give it power, but if we confront it, we take away its grip. With a collective breath, they returned to the journal, compelled by the call of their mother's spirit. Through love, everything is possible, Rosa continued to read. The walls we build to protect ourselves can trap us more than protect us. As the last words settled in the air, Rosa felt a shift within her, a flood of warmth filling her spirit. This was about breaking free, about telling their story, their way. The desire to redefine what was meant by legacy consumed her. Let us create our own workshop, she suddenly declared, the idea igniting a fire in her heart. We can inspire kids in the community, just like we talked about. Ethan's eyes brightened with an electric spark of hope. We'll share music and inventions, we'll foster dreams. His voice rose with excitement. That's it. Jake exclaimed, a smile spreading widely across his face. We'll transform this place from a home of silence into a sanctuary of creativity and expression. The weight of their family history had shifted, no longer a burden but a source of empowerment. Would their journeys merge? Yes, they thought in unison. This was what their mother had wanted, a legacy reborn in truth and love, but the whispers of the shadows were still lingering, pushing them onward. We need to face the past where it belongs, Rosa said, taking a determined step toward deeper corners of the room. What could be down here waiting? They moved as one, fueled by eagerness and transformed courage. With each step, they uncovered more remnants of their family and more pieces of the love that had been stranded in the shadows for too long. There was not just history waiting to be embraced but an opportunity to mold the future. A deep breath escaped them, and in that moment, beneath flickering lights and a tapestry of family history, they found hope, transformation, and the strength that had been waiting for them all along. And as the dust settled, they realized that together, they were not just sweeping away the past, they were building a legacy filled with joy, purpose, and new beginnings. With spirits renewed and eyes set on the horizon, they stepped boldly toward that future. Now is your moment. Don't wait not even one more second. Subscribe immediately to the channel to catch all the exclusive stories coming up. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support. Comment down below your reactions and how you felt about the ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to be part of our community.